Our story begins with Reiner Lute and Ferris Eris being cornered by soldiers. Our heroes, ladies and gentlemen! Not even 5 minutes into this anime and already they're in trouble with the law! Actually, it's not that simple, and the pair swiftly beat away the poor schmucks before traveling to a ruined temple tailed by the ever-vigilant Melt Kalad. Damn, that lady's like a bloodhound when it comes to Reiner, right down to wanting to hump his leg. That was in bad taste. Meanwhile, in Roland's capital city, King Sion is going about his business when he gets jumped by a guy with a knife. Literally! But after pacifying the guy, Sion learns that a corrupt noble has been holding his sister hostage. One stern talking to and tomb raiding later, Sion reunites the siblings and Reiner unleashes a giant golem from a hero relic that proceeds to level the entire valley. Yeah, dude, come on! I'm sure the Raging Titan will just go away. Don't sweat the small stuff. So the plot of LOL is Reiner and Ferris traveling the land searching for hero relics, and Sion, with his retainers, working to solidify and propagate the rule of Roland. This is done very well, alternating between the personal and impersonal conflicts both parties face, as well as introducing and developing supporting characters, and all at a reasonable pace too. But since this is a 26-episode shindig based on 11 light novels, things don't last, and by episode 16, the plot starts to fall apart, slowly and painfully. At least we have substance to deal with in the way of themes for this one. Let's start with Sion. The anime plays up the conflict and turmoil he faces every time he makes a tough decision, like, say, murder his enemies. And it asks us the question, is bringing peace to the land really reason enough to cross these lines? Furthermore, there's the theme of friendship and whether or not it can survive the times. Reiner and Sion stay best friends through the series, but their relationship is sorely tested, partially because of Sion's tendency to alienate his friends from his work, and Reiner's status as a goddamn walking magical nuke. Which brings us to a theme central to the series: discrimination. After all, is it right to persecute and hunt down alpha stigma bearers just because of what they are? Reiner's past has actually led him to believe what it's said about him being a monster, and that plays a big role in developing his loneliness. Well, the anime actually takes a surprisingly neutral stance on every one of these issues, showing us the good Sion does as king versus the bad, as well as the existence of genocidal alpha stigma bearers who swear death on Gastark and kill dozens of people in cold blood, but still treat their own with love. This moral toss-up is probably what I appreciate the most about LOL, which makes it all the more infuriating to see it come apart at the seams like Oogie Boogie in The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's basically like watching the career of M. Night Shyamalan. Ooh, burned. God damn it, this anime pisses me off! Literally all the things that are wrong with it start happening after episode 16. And since, for the sake of decorum, I want to avoid spoilers, I can't get into just how badly this thing crashes, but Lord knows I'll try. The biggest problem is that the anime hits the gas because there's no way it could possibly cover all the novels in 26 episodes at the pace it had hitherto been keeping. Of course, because of this, character development and plot coherency suffers, because newly introduced characters don't get nearly as much screen time, and a bunch of plot points seem ludicrous because of how late or hastily they were introduced. It's a rush job, and those are never good. Especially because this hits my personal pet peeve of an anime adaptation failing to adhere to its literary source because of time constraints. And the saddest part is that, before starting its slow self-destruction, LOL is probably one of the better told, most endearing fantasy stories in recent memory. Not only are the characters very approachable, anyone can relate to Reiner's feelings of being hated just for being different, but they're all given their own development, mini-arcs, and just come across as real people instead of the more common idols. The story manages to blend elements of the classic quest for X magical item with the sweeping cutthroat world of world politics, espionage, and war. It's not something I've seen often in anime. I also quite appreciate the tone this anime sets. It almost feels like the animated equivalent to a period piece. The story feels like it's probably already happened in real life. Well, you know, minus the blowing people up with magic beams. I was actually reminded of China's Three Kingdoms era, complete with two heroes who are determined to fight for their beliefs and their loyal officers, sacrificing life and limb for the sake of ending the chaos of the land. It's got that epicness to it that just makes the latter part of the series more disappointing. Well, there you have it. Yet another promising epic ruined by the blight of time constraints. And this series really pissed me off because I was completely absorbed into the narrative and the characters. I was having a blast watching it before the anime busted my chops with a descent into fuckery. The worst part about it is that even while it was dying, I still saw flashes of its old quality, struggling desperately to stay on the surface before once more being pulled screaming under the waves of nonsense and incoherence. It started out so strong, it just coughed up blood and hemorrhaged to death, and personally, that hurts a lot more than if it had simply been bad. I really wish I didn't have to do this, but I'm gonna have to give Legend of the Legendary Heroes a 5 out of 10, an average watch at best. I can only recommend the first 15 episodes of this series, because the rest of it is just watching the writers shoot themselves in the foot as they try to fit a coherent story in what little time they have left. If you can forgive the mess of the second half, then you can have a look. But if you're like me and want a complete story, then give this anime a pass. Well, that's that. See you all next time, and remember, there's nothing wrong with being anti.